Game number 2 of the semifinals in Copa America 2024 is a big one. It's between Colombia and Uruguay on Wednesday, July 10th at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. It's Los Cafeteros and La Celeste playing in this big matchup here. Now, before we get into the breakdown of this game, if you're shopping for the best sports betting odds and new customer promotions, be sure to help out the channel. Check out my link that I'll put down there in the comments. It's signupexpert.com/shredthespread. There are some great offers you can see from Bet365, Caesars, FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, and more, where you can claim up to $1,000 or even $1,500 in free bonus bets depending on your location and what sportsbook you choose. Check it out. There's some great offers for new customers. Click that link down there in the comments. Now let's get into this game. The odds make these teams nearly identical. We've got Uruguay at plus 180, Colombia plus 187, and the draw plus 190. All three options, nearly identical odds here over at Bet365, and it's exactly identical minus 110 for either team to advance through PKs. There's still no extra time until the final, so if we are tied at 90, we're going straight to PKs, even minus 110 for both teams there. Now, if we go to overs and unders, the over 2.5 plus 162, the under is favored. It's minus 200. Both teams to score yes, plus 105, and the no, minus 143. For Colombia, match day 1, they had a 2-1 win over Paraguay. Match day 2, 3-0 win over Costa Rica. And on match day 3, it was a 1-1 draw with Brazil. On to the quarterfinals, a 5-0 rout of Panama. Now, versus Panama, it was a Colombia onslaught and started early in the 8th minute with Jan Cordoba scoring. James Rodriguez would score on a PK soon after in the 15th minute, followed by Luis Diaz in the 41st. 3-1 Colombia at the half. And the hurt just didn't stop there for Panama, with more Colombia goals coming from Ricard Rios in the 70th and another PK in the 94th from Miguel Borja. Final score, 5-0 Colombia. And the final stats, 52% possession for Colombia. The shots, though, 14-7 Panama. Shots on target, 5-3 Colombia. Corners, 4-2 Colombia. So while Panama actually doubled Colombia up in the shot attempts, Colombia had a 100% shooting percentage, scoring on all 5 shots on target. For Uruguay, match day 1, 3-0 win over Panama. Match day 2, 5-0 win versus Bolivia. Match day 3, 1-0 win over USA. And in the quarterfinals, they had a 0-0 draw with Brazil, going on to win 4-2 in PKs. Now, in that Uruguay and Brazil quarterfinal game, it was a chippy first half with 18 fouls, 13 to Uruguay, 5 to Brazil. Darwin Nunez came close with a header over the net. And then Brazil, 35 seconds later, saw Rafinha on a break with a chance, but he was stopped by Sergio Rocher. There was only 2 shots on target, both from Brazil, in that first half. Second half, not much happening until a Hernandez red card in the 74th minute. Uruguay would manage to hold on, batten down the hatches, and we're off to PKs as that game ended in 0-0. All told, there were 51 combined fouls by the end, the most in the tournament. Uruguay, like we said earlier, went on to win in PKs. Hernandez will miss out through suspension in the semi, while Ronald Araujo left the game injured. Last game, he'll likely miss out as well. Head-to-head historically between Uruguay and Colombia. Their last meeting was in World Cup qualifying back in October, and it ended 2-2, with Colombia leading 2-1 until Uruguay ties it in the 91st minute from a PK. Colombia had taken a red card in the 87th minute. The fouls were 17 to Colombia, 10 to Uruguay. There were no yellow cards, though. In 2021 World Cup qualifying, they drew 0-0. In 2021 Copa America, they drew 0-0, with Colombia going on to win in PKs. 4 of the last 5 meetings between these teams have all ended in draws. Colombia has only 1 win in regulation and only 1 in the past 6 meetings. For Colombia, they're now undefeated, though, in 27 games, which is an incredibly long undefeated streak. Manager Nestor Lorenzo has been in charge for 24 of those games. Now, before that Brazil draw, they had won 10 straight, and they didn't even necessarily need that win against Brazil as well. They've outscored their opponents 54-16 during this streak. They've scored in all but 3 of those 27, and also in 12 straight games. For Uruguay, they've won 5 straight. They've also been very impressive, outscoring their opponents 13-1. They only have 2 losses in 19, 4 losses in 30 as well. They've only not scored 6 times in those 30 games. They've kept clean sheets in 5 of 6 and 8 of 11. Now, if we look at some more stats between these teams here as we get into the prediction for Uruguay and Colombia. Goals. Colombia has been first in the tournament with 11. Uruguay second with 9. Shots. Uruguay first. Colombia 8th. Shots on target. Uruguay second. Colombia 5th. And the XG. Colombia second. Uruguay third. Defensively, despite these teams obviously having played now some more games than other teams at this point, Uruguay are still first in XGA at 1.7, Colombia being second with 1.8. So they're playing great offensively and defensively, both sides of the ball here. Both have only allowed 9 shots on target through their games so far, and just behind the 8 of Mexico and Argentina. Uruguay, they still only allowed 1 goal all tournament long, and that was way back on match day 1 in the final seconds, 94th minute against Panama. Darwin Nunez has 2 goals this tournament, and he has total shots of 5, 7, 1, and 3. So he's always worth a look if you're trying to create a same game parlay and maybe just want to include a player to get a shot or 2 shots or maybe a goal to bump up the price. Colombia as well. They've only allowed 2 goals this tournament as well and just 1 in their last 3 games. Colombia could be slightly more rested here. They both played the same day, but Colombia coasted back by Panama while Uruguay expended a ton of energy against Brazil, and they did play down a man for the last 20 minutes of that game. To me, Uruguay's clearly looked like the better team, the best team in this tournament so far, but probably just barely. Colombia's certainly been impressive as well. They both have draws against Brazil. It's hard for me to bet against a team that has not lost in 27 games. You can only lose once going against that streak. These teams also have a long history of draws, though. So there's a lot of options here. This could very easily be 0-0, 1-1, maybe 2-2 like their last meeting. But a lot of these games in the Euros and the Copas have been tight against with the top teams playing. I don't think there'll be much between them. Certainly an under is in play, under 2.5. You're only going to find minus 200 odds, though, on that, so you might only be able to use that in a parlay. To me, I think the draw is the bet here. I don't see much between these teams. This could be close. Let's go draw. It's the best bet at plus 190. What's your pick between this huge game between Uruguay and Colombia in the Copa America? Be sure to share it down there in the comments. Give the video a like. Subscribe to the channel to get more picks and videos. And best of luck.